Hi, my name is Yin Gao and welcome to Dr. Gao's classroom. I'm a professional philosopher and I love classical Chinese poetry. I have been translating classical Chinese poetry for the last few years with a colleague of mine. I would love to share my knowledge with you on the subject. Your enjoyment is my command. Today, I'm going to continue my story about Du Fu and translate two more of his poems. The first poem I'm going to translate is one of his bi-snow poems he composed when he was caught by An Lushan's rebellion force and witnessed the destruction the war brought on the capital Chang'an in the title Chun Wang. The second poem is a lesser-known one in the title of Ke Zhi. This one was composed when he and his family fled to Chengdu, a city in today's Sichuan province, where they enjoyed a brief period of peace and safety. As I mentioned in my first video on Du Fu, he is known for both his literary talent and his compassion for the people. His Confucian ideal, as well as the first-hand experience of poverty during the chaotic time, made him very sensitive to the suffering of the common people. His best-known poems such as Xin'an Li, a clerk from Xin'an, Shihao Li, a clerk from Shihao village, Tongguan Li, a clerk from Tong fortress, Xin Hun Bie, the separation of the newly wedded, 垂老别, the separation of an elderly couple, 无家别, the departure of a homeless man, were the best accounts of the unbearable suffering the war brought on the people. The clerks had to draft the young and old men for the army by force. The family were broken up, even the newly wedded husbands, and the elderly men were forced to join the army. With powerful language and extraordinary talent, Du Fu painted vivid pictures of the misery and horrors experienced by the people during this time. It is not surprising that he is given the title of Shi Sheng, the shades of poetry, and revered ever since. Even though I'm not going to have time to translate and analyze all these poems in my videos, I would try to do one or two of these poems in the future. I feel these poems would be able to remind us how cruel and destructive war would be with Du Fu's extraordinary literary talent, and it is time for us to remember that. In my next video, I'm going to talk a bit more about Taoist philosophy, about how to enjoy life like a Taoist master. I'm going to choose a theme from Zhuangzi chapter 2, 齐物论, and talk about how Zhuangzi, even over 2,000 years ago, understood the stress and anxiety we're facing today. If you're new to my channel, please check out my other videos on classical Chinese poetry, philosophies, and medical literature. If you like the content of these videos, please click the like button and subscribe my channel. I also offer one-to-one online lessons on these subjects, so if you would like to read those original texts, please contact me. Here's my email address. Now, let me talk a bit more about Du Fu's life. Between 746 AD to 755, Du Fu did everything he can, trying to get a patron and enter the bureaucratic system by presenting his poetry, essays, to the high-rank official, but without much success. However, these 10 years was the most productive years for Du Fu. Many of the best-known poems we learn today were composed during this time. These poems portrayed the terrible suffering of the common people and the extravagant lives of the powerful and rich. This might be the reason why Du Fu was not able to get a patron, because they were all from the class that Du Fu criticized in his poetry. It was not until 755 AD Du Fu was appointed as a low-rank officer with the crown prince's bodyguards. He then went to visit his family in a nearby county. Unfortunately, the Anlushan rebellion broke out later that year and took over all the counties near the capital. Du Fu and his family were caught up in the war with all the other refugees fleeing the battlefield. Once he got his family settled in a safe place, Du Fu decided to join the crown prince, Li Heng, who had by now declared himself as the new emperor to raise resistant force against Anlushan. Unfortunately, Du Fu was caught by Anlushan's soldier on his way and forced to do manual labor to build the city wall at the capital. It was during this time Du Fu composed one of his best-known poems, 春望. Now, let me read it in Chinese. 国破山河在，城春草木深。感时花溅泪，恨别鸟惊心。烽火连山月，家书抵万金。白头搔更短，浑欲不胜簪。Now, let's look at the first four lines. 国破山河在，城春草木深。感时花溅泪，恨别鸟惊心。国 means state. 破 means destroyed or ruined. 山 means mountain. 河 means river. 在 means remain. 城 means city. 春 means spring. 草 means grass. 木 means tree. 深 literally means deep. It is used to describe the grass and the trees have grown very tall, so it is deep to get into them. So we translated it as thrive. 感 means feel. 时 means time. 感时 is used to describe how the poet feels about the destruction, even the springtime, when it is supposed to be a happy time, cannot cheer him up. 花 means flower. 溅 means splash. 泪 means tear. 花溅泪 refers to the morning dew on the flower, which is normally a beautiful scene, but for Du Fu during this chaotic time, look like the flower are weeping. 恨 means hate. 别 means separation. 鸟 means bird. 惊 means startle. 心 means heart. 鸟惊心 refers to the feeling that even the cheerful bird song only startles him rather than making him happy. So the four lines read, the state is ruined, mountains and rivers remain. Spring arrives in the city, and the grass and trees are thriving. I feel in this time even the flowers weep. Hating separation, the bird song startles me. 烽火连山月，家书抵万金。白头搔更短，浑欲不胜簪。风 means beckon. 火 means fire. 连 means continue. 山 means three. 月 means month. 家 means home. 书 means letter. 抵 means worth. 万 means 10,000. 金 means gold. 白头 means white hair. 搔 means scratch. 更 means more. 短 means short or short of something. So we translated it as sparse. 浑 means even. 欲 means can. 不 means not. Sheng normally means overcome or surpass. It also means to be able to uphold something, such as in the phrase of 胜任, meaning be able to hold a position. So we translate it as hold. 沾 means hairpin. So the 4 lines read, Bacon fires 3 months in a row. A letter from home is worth 10,000 pieces gold. I scratch my white hair, now so sparse. It cannot even hold a hairpin. A year later, Du Fu managed to escape from the capital and went to Fengxiang, where Li Heng set up his new court. The town of Fengxiang is over 100 miles away from the capital, but the 46-year-old poet managed to reach there by foot. The Emperor Li Heng was very much moved by Du Fu's loyalty and courage, and appointed him as 左拾遗, a low rank but an important position in charge of drafting and editing decrees for the emperor. However, Du Fu was soon caught up in the court politics. Like his friend Li Bai, Du Fu was quite naive in politics. He sided with the wrong people and was soon granted a long holiday to visit his family by the emperor. Du Fu realized that the emperor no longer trusted him. In 759, 2 years after the new emperor took back the capital, Du Fu resigned from his position. He was tired of the constant war and the court politics. He wanted to have a peaceful life. At the age of 48, he felt very old and wanted to spend more time with his family rather than chasing power and fame. So he decided to travel all the way to Chengdu, a beautiful city in today's Sichuan province. The journey was long and hard, but Du Fu's family finally arrived there toward the end of the year. Du Fu built a cottage for his family, which became a memorial for Du Fu today, and a hot tourist spot. Almost everyone who visited Chengdu would pay a visit to Du Fu Chaotang or Du Fu Cottage. Du Fu settled his family in Chengdu for several years, while himself traveled to other places trying to get a position at the local government, but without much success. However, due to his literary reputation, many of the local officials, including the magistrates around Chengdu, were quite generous in helping Du Fu with his accommodation and supplies. So Du Fu and his family enjoyed a relatively peaceful and happy life there. They settled into the community quite comfortably and had visitors to come to his house and entertain them with whatever he had. The following poem Du Fu composed in 761 reflected Du Fu's life. Now, let me read it in Chinese first. 舍南舍北皆春水，但见群鸥日日来。花径不成缘客少，蓬门今始为君开。盘孙市远无兼味，樽酒家贫子就醅。肯与邻翁相对饮，隔离呼取尽余杯。Now let's look at the first 2 lines. 舍南舍北皆春水，但见群鸥日日来。舍 means house. Nan means south. 舍 again means house. 北 means north. 节 means all. 春 means spring. 水 means creek. 但 means only. 见 means see. 群 means flock. O refers to brown-headed gulls. 日日 means day after day. 来 means come. So the 2 lines read, To the north and south of my house are all spring creeks, only brown-headed gulls to be seen day after day. 花径不成缘客少，蓬门今始为君开。花 means flower. 径 means path. So 花径 means flower-lined path. 不成 means haven't. 圆 means full. 客 means guest. 扫 means sweep. 蓬门 refers to the Sage Gate. 今 means today or now. 始 means just. So 今始 means just now. 未 means full. 君 means you. 开 means open. So the two lines read, the flower-lined path remains unswept for guests, but the Sage Gate is just opened for you. 盘孙似远无见味，樽酒家贫只就胚。盘 means plate. 孙 means food. 市 means market. 远 means far away. 无 means little. 兼味 means many flavors. 无兼味 means not many flavors or limited flavors. 樽 means cup. 酒 means wine. 家 means home. 贫 means poor. 只 means only. 旧 means old. 胚 means unfiltered wine. So the two lines read, because I'm far from the markets, my dishes have limited flavors, and I only have this poor unfiltered wine from last year. 肯与邻翁相对饮，隔离呼取尽余杯。肯 means would like. 与 means with. 邻 means neighbor. 翁 means old man. 相对 means facing each other. 饮 means drink. 隔 means across. 离 means hedge. 呼取 means cow. 尽 means finish. 余 means left over. 杯 means cup. So the two lines read, would you like to drink with my old neighbor from next door? I'll call him over the hedge and we'll finish off whatever is left. These poems were supposedly composed for the visit of Yan Wu, a close friend of Du Fu who obtained a great military achievement defending the southwest border against the invasion of Tufan or the Tibetan Empire in 762. Yan Wu was awarded with the title of a duke and appointed as the governor of Jiannandao, which included the whole Sichuan province and part of the Yunnan and Guizhou province. That is, he was put in charge of all the territories in the southwest of the empire. Du Fu finally got his political patron in Yan Wu, who recommended him, and Du Fu was soon appointed as an assistant minister at Gongbu, or the Department of Public Work, a minor 6th-rank position, not at the capital but at Sichuan, working for Yan Wu. However, Du Fu was not happy at Yan Wu's court because he felt he was not respected by the young generals around Yan Wu. So he soon quit his job and returned home. When Yan Wu suddenly died in 765 at the age of 40, there was nothing for Du Fu to stay in Chengdu anymore. So he packed up the whole family and left for Guizhou, where Du Fu got a position to work for the governor of Guizhou. In 768, the family settled at Dangyang, a county where a distant ancestor of Du Fu, Du Yu, was the marquis over a century ago. So for Du Fu, this was a visit to his ancestor's hometown. However, without a job or any financial support, Du Fu and his family had to move again a few months later. Du Fu visited several places between 768 and 770 AD, trying to get a job or financial support. The family experienced horrible hardship during this time, and Du Fu was also sick with diabetes and other complaints. In early 770 AD, Du Fu decided to take his family to Hunan province, where one of Du Fu's maternal uncle, Cui Wei, was the governor there. The journey was very difficult. They encountered a huge flood and was trapped on the boat at a place called Leiyang and could not even get any food for several days. The family only survived because the local county magistrate heard about Du Fu's predicament and sent some beef and wine to his family. Du Fu had a nice meal but passed away the next day at the age of 59. Du Fu, even though born into a family of scholar officials, was not as lucky as Wang Wei, who was only 12 years older than Du Fu. Apparently, his family belonged to a much lower class of scholar officials and was excluded from the social circle of the prince and princesses, as well as the high-rank officials Wang Wei was associated with. This means that Du Fu had no chance to get the patronage that Wang Wei was able to. Furthermore, even though he was born only 12 years later, the Tang society had changed substantially. After the Andalusian rebellion, the Tang Empire fell apart, with wars breaking out everywhere. Different princes were fighting against each other for the crown. The generals supposed to guard the different parts of the empire became warlords and fought against each other. The constant wars among them dragged on for 8 years. A low-rank scholar officer like Du Fu, with nothing except his literary talent, had little chance to achieve his political ambition or even make a decent living for his family and himself. However, the hard life Du Fu experienced during this chaotic time also made him one of the greatest poets in Chinese history. Many of his poems are epics, cherished by people in China and other Chinese-speaking communities around the world, and celebrated until today. So please let me know, how do you like Du Fu's poems? If you like them, I would certainly make more videos translating and analyzing his other poems. In my next video, I'm going to talk a bit more about Zhuangzi's philosophy and how he accurately foresaw the sort of anxiety and stress we are facing today, more than 2,000 years later. If you're new to my channel, please check out my other videos on classical Chinese poetry, philosophy, and medical literature. If you like the content of these videos, please click the button and subscribe my channel. I also offer one-to-one online lessons on these subjects. So if you would like to read the original text or any extra materials I mentioned in my videos, please contact me. Here's my email address. Otherwise, thank you for viewing my video and I'll see you next time.